Hey guys, I'm sure you know who I am by now. I am Josh. I am the co-owner of Genesis Exotics. Today I'm going to show you guys how to use our red-eye tree frog BioActive complete kit. What we're going to do, we sell these kits tankless on our website. That includes everything you need except the tank and the lid. And how we're going to start this with a standard 20-gallon high, because 2 red-eye tree frogs can live in a 20-gallon high their entire life. You can start off with a 10-gallon, but they will eventually need to be upgraded. So the first step that we're going to do is put our initial drainage layer down a hydro grill. I actually have it in this container. It's usually bagged up, but to make things easier for this video. Okay. And what I'm going to do is evenly distribute it here at the bottom. So that way it creates an even drainage layer. Now what this is going to do, this collects all the groundwater to prevent anaerobic bacterial growth in your soil, keep your plants happy and healthy, and it is basically weightless. The next step is putting down our screen protector, which we highly recommend for tree frogs, just because since they are in a very humid environment, you just want to make sure that your soil isn't coming deep in contact with your drainage layer. So you can see it right here. You can see the drainage, and then you can see your Vivarium screen. The next step is the right soil. Now, every tree frog is going to have a different soil. It goes by their biotype. If you have a Phyllomedusa, a waxy monkey frog, Phyllomedusa salvagii, they are going to need like a terra firma type of soil because they like a hotter, more drier environment. If you have a white tree frog or a red-eye tree frog, they're going to want the jungle floor because they like the humidity to be moderately high, but extremely well drained to prevent bad bacterial growth, since they do poop a lot. So for starters, we're going to open up our jungle floor and we're going to dump it into a bucket filled a quarter of the way with bottled water. You don't have to use bottled water, you can use tap water. I just think it's better for the plants that way. So I just dump the entire thing into the water. Right like this. And then the second bag, dump it right into the water. And then from there, after it's dumped, you're basically just going to mix it up real good. Okay, after it's nice and mixed up, it's going to have the type of feel where it sticks together in a clump, but it's not dripping. That's the exact consistency that you want. And then, it's as simple as putting it in your tank. You can have it be sculpted so that way the front is higher from the back. You can, put one side higher than the other. Biggest thing to keep in mind is, since a lot of the plants in this tank you're going to be using are a little bit bigger, they're going to need more soil to handle the root bases. So I recommend distributing the soil evenly, or order extra bags from me. Okay. This is by far my favorite part about is setting up the tank. Okay. So you can see here we got all the soil in here. Okay. So after we have our soil in here, we have our soil layer, our Vivarium screen protector, and then we have our hydro grow at the bottom. Perfect. So the next step would be to add in the sphagnum moss at the top. Now, the sphagnum moss is very important. The aspect of a couple things. One, it is a biodegradable, so it will break down and provide a source of food to your plants, as well as your springtails and isopods. It also prevents your frogs from touching the soil directly. The soil itself is not a problem. What can happen is, since frogs shed every single day, they eat their skin. So sometimes a piece of soil gets stuck on there. That can cause issues with shedding. Then they don't shed properly. Their shed gets messed up, which can mess with their osmotic pressures, and then you have even more issues. So it's just really important that, for dart frogs, tree frogs in general, tree frogs depending on the species, but red eyes and white tree frogs, that you just give this a nice even distribution across the top. If a little bit of soil is exposed, that's perfectly fine. It's nothing to worry about. We just don't want it to be bare soil for these guys. So after you get your layer down, you want to make sure it's nice and evenly distributed. Then you grab your mister and then just give it a light mist. Nice and simple. Right like this. Now, perfect. Okay. Next step is we add in our springtails and isopods. These tank janitors are really important because they break down decaying organic matter. So not only do they eat the poop for you, they also create the necessary cycles in your vivarium to make sure that it constantly cycles and has a healthy bioactive ecosystem. And I just kind of scuffle them around here, right like that. So, hydro grill, vivarium screen, jungle floor, sphagnum moss, springtails, and isopods. Next step is by far my favorite step, and that is decorating. Now, when you keep tree frogs in mind, tree frogs really like to climb, especially, you know, red-eyed tree frogs and other stuff like that. So it's one of those things that you want to make sure that you give them places to climb. So what I'm doing for this is I'm going to be like this here. Yeah, and then like this right here. I'm digging that. And from there, we can add in some of our plants. All the plants that we sell on our website are 100% vivarium safe, are not grown with fertilizers and a bunch of pesticides. Biggest thing to keep in mind with tree frogs is that they're big and clumsy. So the plants that you pick, you want to make sure that they can handle clumsy frogs. If you order the kit from us, all of the plants that are included are exactly the ones that you need for your animal to make sure that your vivarium stays happy and healthy and not destroyed. So I'm going to put the first one right here. Yeah, digging that. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to put another one. This is a pothos. This is actually a cutting. I almost always include these in the red-eyed tree frog. Honestly, any of your tree frog kits. These broad leaves are great because what they do is they hide underneath them, and during the day they blend in. It keeps them away from the sun, so it helps them with water balance. Again, I can't go over the importance of water balance with amphibians. And you know, it makes them feel secure, and most tree frogs lay their eggs on these. Granted, in a setup like this, don't expect them to breed. However, for aesthetics, it will definitely do the job. And for their happiness, it will definitely do the job. So I'm putting them right here, right like this. I got two smaller plants right in here that start off small but get pretty large. So I'm going to put that one here. And then I'm going to put this small creeping fig thing here. Now, this one is not a plant that I typically include with the kit, but I want it in here because I think it's cool. And as long as you watch it every day and make sure they're not trampling on it too much, you can always pick it up and move it somewhere else. So what I like to do with a plant like this is kind of put it in a corner somewhere, and then by the time that they get near there, it has taken off already. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it right here in the front. So what's going to happen is this is going to grow up this log and eventually cover this log with this nice little stuff here. It'll look fantastic. So I'm going to add some moss. Now this is our sheet moss. Biggest thing with live moss, reverse osmosis, distilled or bottled water only. If you use tap water, it's going to die. And then you just put a little bit of moss wherever you'd like it. In my instance, I'm putting it right here in the front because that's where I'd want it. And then after we're done putting down the moss, the most important part of your bioactive ecosystem is the fuel. Leaf litter. And we're just going to evenly distribute the leaves. Get me a water dish. Evenly distribute the leaves right around here. So what's going to happen is as your springtails and isopods breed in the tank, they're going to be eating the leaves, and the leaves are going to break down, help create new soil, help create basically feeding stations for them, like for some of your dart frogs and other stuff like that. Okay. Check that out. I'm digging this. It's easy, it's simple. It took me 8.5 minutes to make. And then to top it off, a standard 20-gallon high lid with one of our LED lights right on top. And then of course you want to make sure that you have a water dish in here. I usually put the water dish right here in the front or on the side. Just make sure that you clean it really well every time you refill it. And you can see our small little LED lights that are included with our kits really light up the vivarium. For red eyes, you'd want to mist this tank two times a day to keep the humidity up. If you need help with humidity, you can cover up half of the screen with glass or with saran wrap and tape it down, whichever is easier. Or if you have a white street frog, you just want to make sure that you have a complete screen and you mist the tank twice a day. Again, my name is Josh. I am the owner of Genesis Exotics. You can visit us on the web at www.genesisexotics.com. And thank you very much.